Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody. Hello.
How's it going?
All right. How is everything going?
Yeah. How is everything
Yeah.
going?
All right.
Winning?
Audio is probably working.
Probably. Famous last
Probably
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing today? Welcome. Not muted. Good job. Yeah. Solid
Yeah.
start.
Are
Solid
you, are
start.
you glitching out? Wait, I didn't check your stream yet.
No, it's just my face
No,
normally.
everything's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not any more than normal.
Do you ever walk by your mirror and just like do a double take?
Not a jump scare, dude, is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens every day.
That's what I do
Yeah.
every day.
How's your week been, bud?
It's been pretty good actually.
Hell yeah, let's go.
It's been pretty chill. I've been working too much again. It's like so what's happening for me right now is all like everyone that I've been in contact with regarding like freelance work, they're all coming
Yeah.
back from vacation now.
Ah,
So like I'm getting all the emails and like all the messages at the same time right now where people are like, what are you doing this winter? Like, what are you going to do work on? So I need to figure that out.
Right.
What I want to, participate in. Because some things people are like, we need you full time. And I don't know if I want to do full time anything else
No.
right now.
yeah.
So that's sort of been. I just hate emails, dude. This is just a rant I have to get out of myself right now. I don't know what it is, but emails, the format, like the way they function, it's just like I hate it so much.
Well, you know what? There's a niche in the market there. Snutt. get in there.
I'd rather just get like a DM on Discord, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
I guess it's not as professional, but I don't know what it is, but like I just whenever I get an email, I just never want to reply to it, you know?
Yeah. I feel I've now become kind of like neutral when it comes to all forms of communication, where it's just like I don't care if it's an email, I don't care if it's like work or whatever. Like I'm just gonna reply to things whenever like it suits me. And I'm gonna just like reply in a regular tone, like as if I'm talking to a person, and that's how I do things now because I kind of get what you mean. Like when things are in emails, it feels different. Feels like you're supposed to format things different, maybe say things different, and that thinking all that stuff through is just too much energy at this point.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm just like, brain not working. Maybe I'll deal with this later. You know, and then when I do, I'll just talk to you like a normal person.
Yeah.
And then see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with Mason here. Like the problem with me with email is always that I overthink it too much. And like, is this a proper wording? Oh, is this professional enough? Like, when I just DM someone, it's just like, hey, what are you doing? Like,
the problem with DMs is it can still happen. Sometimes it feels like it's more casual because the cool thing about it, right? In the best case scenario, is that you can have that back and forth, right? You can ask quick clarification, then get back to you real quick, blah, 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 blah. But if like one or both of you aren't getting back in a timely fashion, then it has to become wordy because you need to get a bunch of stuff out there and then they have to give you a bunch of stuff back.
Yeah.
And then it can get really weird in DMs because then there's like this expectation that it was supposed to be quicker. And the fact that you're not replying quicker, what does that mean then? Like, who knows?
I've just completely... for a long time, I've just accepted that that's not the case with me. Like if someone texts me or if someone sends me a DM, I don't feel that responsibility that I need to reply promptly. And I don't expect the same thing for other people either.
Yeah.
Like there's anything can come up and you don't know what's happening. Like if I'm out walking and I see a DM, like, if someone asks me like a quick question and I'm like, yes, I can just say yes. I'll do that when I'm out walking. And if I get a follow-up question like blah, 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 and then suddenly I need to give a much more proper response.
But you don't want to give it a response in that moment. Yeah.
No, exactly. So then I'm like, I'm going to wait until I get home. And that's how I think of everyone else that I'm talking to, that they have the same, that they've other things going on. I'm not expecting anyone to like reply to me immediately.
Yeah. I think I've had like different relationships with that concept, over time, right? But I'm definitely more like where you're at now, but also just a combination of like, it's also that like, I'm not even considering oh, maybe something came up. I'm just like, I did my part. I sent them a message. They'll get back to me if they want to or when they want to. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they don't want to. I don't care. Like their reason could literally just be didn't want to respond right now, and I'll be like, that's great. You know, do it whenever you feel like it, bud. You know, so that's just how I am now, and it's chill. It's chill now.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Pretty good. Like there's been like a lot of like stressful things, but like at the same time, they're finally like getting out of the way, which is nice. So it's been pretty productive in that sense, and things are lightening. I would sort of say, and so it's like a good upwards trend throughout the week. It's been getting better. I've been taking more time to chill some more. Like honestly, RuneScape has been helping. I know this is weird, but I'm like, no, I really like RuneScape, and I'm taking the fucking time to play now. You know, I'm taking my time to chill out and relax for, you know, at least a few hours a day, to, you know, just to do something for myself kind of thing. Yeah. And that's been kind of nice. I can feel myself feeling a little better for doing that. So that's pretty good.
I was going to say, finish your thought.
No, you go on. I was going to change a little bit. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say like the reoccurring thing here we need to talk about whenever we talk about like what's happening is what's your ratio of chilling and working?
Yeah.
It's like, do I need to keep tabs on you? So, likewise, like, because mine has been pretty shit because so one thing that I plan to do on stream at some point is I want to do a category in Supermetro called RBO, which is reverse boss order, where you beat the entire game backwards, basically. So you finish the last boss first, and then you keep going from there, right? And it's a category that I want to do for a long time, for like many years, but it's a really difficult one. So I've been grinding like off camera to get all the strats and get all the rooms, and it's so fucking hard, and it's pissing me off. So whenever I have downtime, I'm like, you know, I'm going to grind a little RBO. And I'm always in a good mood when I start. And then like an hour in, I'm just like super pissed off. So whenever I have
it sounds like a good way to chill out, dude.
Yeah, dude. So whenever I have downtime, I'm like, what I do, when it goes well, though, I really enjoy it. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, so when I'm doing new rooms and when I'm doing new strategies, I just get so pissed off. When it doesn't go my way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've had a couple of nights now where like 11 p.m. I'm like, I have an hour to kill before I go to bed. I'm gonna do a little bit of RBO, and then it's 1 a.m. Like, fuck this room.
Does anyone do a little bit of RBO?
Well, I guess not.
No.
So
I hope everyone in chat is doing well. We can maybe take a couple quick questions and say hello to people real quick. So I think Alana mentioned the worst emails are the please find attached letter in PDF form ones. Yep.
The one where they sent a picture. Do you ever get that?
No, I haven't got that.
No. It's like, see,
everyone
my
I've
email
talked
is,
to.
yeah, my email is in the
PDFs.
picture. And it's like, huh?
Okay.
So, scam? Question mark? Like, don't reply to those.
Just put your credit card details here. Have any of you been to Gamescom? I have been to Gamescom many years ago. One time. Yeah, it was very fun. We talked a lot about Gamescom last week, actually.
Yeah, we
so
did.
if you're curious about our thoughts on Gamescom or Gamescom this year or whatever, check out the VOD at stateof.dev, which is just a YouTube channel.
I keep forgetting that we have that website.
We do have that.
Yeah.
Just go straight to the YouTube channel. You could check out that chat if you're curious.
Do it.
All the
do
shows,
it, you cowards.
Do it. All the shows are archived there. Yeah. But yeah, I have you watched Starship Flight 10? No.
No, what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Isn't it weird how this is an actual thing. This is an actual starship. Is this SpaceX or?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I see. I thought this was like another Star Trek thing or
Star
Wars thing.
I was gonna say, like, it's weird how nowadays there's so many shows, there's so much media, there's so much content everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So like when you run into anyone, it's not like back in my day when you had like 4 channels. You'd be like, hey, did you see the show last night? Sure did, because there's nothing else going on. But like nowadays, there's like a billion things you can watch. So it's like simultaneously, it's like impossible to watch the same thing. But at the same time, there's so many instances where people do watch the same thing like often, and it's like this is the thing to talk about. I think that's interesting. That like you've seen Superman. Oh, that's the hot thing right now.
Yep.
There's 1,000 other movies, but Superman is the thing that everyone's seen.
Yeah.
Okay, old man. All right.
Yeah, I have some other thoughts. I don't want to get into it right now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's too
Because
early in the
it
morning.
opens up another can of worms, and we have other things we want to talk about today. So I don't want to get into it.
I see how it is.
Yeah. Someone sending their flyer in BMP format. Whew. It's a big file.
Company information must be email. Too often things go into the definite muted channel. That is true. There's a lot of like if you use Discord as your main form of like communication, there's a lot of like lost information that's hard to like search up.
Yeah.
And find.
Yeah, for sure. I find Slack to be hard to search in as well for some reason.
Oh yeah, you guys use Slack.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Slack.
Yeah.
I remember how disappointing it was when we switched away from Slack.
Into Teams. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, that was some shit. Shall we?
Sure.
Shall we move on to the state
main
of dev
course?
portion, the main course? Yeah. And today's topic of stream is actually probably, I mean, it's mostly going to be the state of dev stuff actually, because we wanted to do sort of we wanted to talk a little bit about level design in our games. I think it'll be curious to see because I think you mentioned there was that talk that person gave about level design, and we've like recommended that and stuff as well. So I think it's like a nice follow up that we do some level design stuff, show some level design stuff in our games, and also show like I think it's gonna be really interesting when people see like, well, what's like your gray boxing or white boxing, whatever you call it, right? Blockouts look like in your 3D or in a 3D environment versus say in a 2D one. And not that my 2D one is the way to do it or anything like that. I'm kind of just firing at the hip and just making things up as I go. But it is like the process that I'm currently using. So we could sort of see how that differs, you know?
Yeah. Because I think it's also like the process of what type of game you're making, like what level design looks like. Because when I worked on like a rhythm game, we did level design, but it's not level design, right? It's like you're making a track. It's like, you know, Guitar Hero when you see things pop down, like you're still designing that experience. And we called it level design because it has the format of a level, but it's not like a level where you jump around and move around. It's
right. Or like a top-down RPG, you know, that's 2D. That's sure, it's a 2D game, but compare that to like a 2D platformer that's like a side-scrolling one or something, right? These are two completely different approaches to level design in those cases. Even how you would block things out would be completely different, and the challenges that you face would be completely different. And I think you'll probably see in my little demonstration today that there's some really big challenges with some things with the way that I'm doing my game. But yeah.
Yeah, because you also... I guess that's the first thing really, to like just define what level design is to a certain degree, because I find that sometimes when you talk about level design, it's a very broad spectrum of things what people mean. You know, sometimes when you think of level design, the way they describe it is more like, oh, I'm designing the environment and I'm doing artistic designing on a world, versus level design where like, no, I'm making a platformer and
a space to move. Yeah,
space to move, and like it needs to invoke these kind of feelings for the player versus like this is what it's going to look like and blah blah blah. So it's a very broad term, I think, to a certain degree, and I don't think many people realize that. There's a lot of like videos on YouTube where people are doing like speed level designing in like Unreal Engine or whatever. But what they're mostly doing is they're just making a cool environment. They're not really like making, you know, a level that you're supposed to
play through.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Mm.
And I'm not saying that that's anything. There's anything wrong with using these terms broadly, because
it's just that is like one piece of that pie, right? That's what you're saying, is it can be so many things. And like Mason in chat is just saying level design makes me think of platformers, which I know is wrong in the modern day. It's not even wrong. That is level design. but it's just the level design for platformers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just really depends on the context.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe we should take a step back first and just like give a little bit of, if you want to start showing off things and just
You want
give
me to
like,
start?
yeah, sure. And just give your sort of state of dev on what you're working in and like how that relates to level design.
Okay. So, yeah, it was working before stream. No, it should be fine. It should be fine. 1 second. I'm kicking it off.
I promise, chat. It's a working thing.
Yeah, wait.
That's what I tell myself.
I hope we don't have the weird, like, shitty.
That didn't happen last week, actually. The weird, like, glitching thing. It was mostly just like the entire stream that was glitching, but it didn't seem like you had the same issues with the screen capture being goofy. So it should be fine, hopefully. TM. So far, everything's been smooth, which is a first.
There's something weird going on.
Okay, it's no longer a smooth stream. All right.
Wait. It might be fine. No, it's fine. It was actually fine. Okay, so
it's just a cliffhanger we want to leave you guys on.
I'm switching. Has it switched?
Oh, I see it.
Yep. Okay. So here we are, folks. Chat. So y'all have seen this little sandpit before here on stream. People who watch my content have as well. We've seen the vending machines and things like that. But I think, Big Mouse here. But I think, let's see, how do I want to approach this? So first of all, my game takes place in a city, as you can kind of tell with the way that this sort of looks. But you're going to see that we have this area here that has like some detail to it, right? There's like some detail to it. But we're going to be going to other areas that have much, much less. And actually, in fact, we'll go there right now. So if I go over here, this is kind of what my levels look like a little bit while I'm working through it. And it's just these big blocks. Now, you'll probably see, I'm actually not sure what Snutt is going to demonstrate, but you'll probably see like a lot of times in 3D games, things are like white boxed or gray boxed. And it's because everything is just a white box with lighting. And so it's kind of gray too, because you see shadows. And everything can just kind of be white. They can use colors to highlight things or whatever, but it can still sort of work in those cases. And if it has a texture, but in this case, my buildings, I use different colors just to differentiate like, there could be a building here and then another building here kind of thing, right? We can sort of walk around and we could see that like maybe this little section here is the ground texture of this is a market street, which is what it's going to be. So there'll be like stalls and stuff out front. And this is where the ground texture transitions to like a more grungy thing in the background behind the markets and behind the stores and things like that. And there's like some other like hidden walled off garden back here and things like that. So this is just kind of a block out of this one little area. Now, this block out is actually not even the lowest level of quality block out that I do, because this one even has collision on it. All right, but you'll see in some of the areas that I'll get to that they don't even have collision on them. That it's literally just blocks, and you'll see them soon. So this one is, I thought this one had like buildings in the front, but I guess not. You still walk on top of the buildings here, no collision. You do a little bit here. You can walk behind that building. But yeah, this is like another kind of, it's supposed to be, well, I don't know, what okay, this is blocked out, right? But what kind of vibe do you get from this, Snutt? From this?
This looks like that middle thing looked like a little pond, sort of. So this is like a little bit of a park area, maybe. That's like a little bit still central. So this is probably like a farmer's market or something like that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So my goal of it is that this big building back here will be an aquarium, but this big open area here is like a plaza, and this will be kind of like either a park or a fountain in the middle, and there'll be like stalls where people buy ice creams or little things out here. People can just chill out here and things like that.
It reminds me a little bit of the plaza, the central thing in Quebda, right? Where you have like the thing at the center and then a lot of stuff going on around it. Yeah,
exactly. So I I'm mostly showing outdoor stuff at the moment, but we do have some indoor stuff. So here's like inside a big train station, which has like a bunch of shops in it and things like that. And, oh, not a train station, but a transit center. And you can go down the stairs. You can check out underneath. There's people here. You could depart from there, things like that. I'll actually go back out the way that we came in.
So you mentioned that your first area doesn't necessarily have collision. How does that work for you when you're designing it? Do you like do you set the collision separately from the buildings, or are they like when you place down a building, does it have collision with it, or like how is that defined?
Yeah, there's a few ways that you can do it in Godot. You can actually apply collisions directly to tile map tiles. So this fence here, for example, has a collision baked into the tile itself. So when I paint that down, it has a collision. However, that's not an approach that's viable for me because of some other reasons in my game, and that is that my game can have multiple floors within was a good place to demonstrate this. A good place to demonstrate it would be if I go over here, so we can run over here. You can see more of this city. This is like more dressed up a little. We have this like weird shitty park back here. All right. We'll redo
really
that.
Dark park.
1 second. I'll have to restart.
Did you load into like a non-level or something?
I think that one level trigger is probably wrong. Give me a moment.
Because yeah, you also need to like place down all the triggers for everything. So like when you walk from one room to another.
Exactly. So here we are. Should see it, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just one of the level triggers aren't set up correctly. But like, so for example, here, right? See, there's no collision under this bridge, right? But if I walk up, now there is. Right? So I can't simply say that there's collision on certain tiles because it has to be collisions that exist on specific layers. And so there's all this sort of like internal stuff that I had to work out to make this work. And so the way that I actually do it is I actually just have an invisible layer that I paint collision for wherever I need. And so that's basically what I do is I just go and paint collision wherever I need it.
This is really interesting because I don't think I've ever thought about this problem actually, because the way they did it in RPG Maker is that like when you have like a building, you would define like these are the collision tiles and these are the front facing tiles. So like you can walk behind stuff, like for instance the tree. Like in RPG Maker you would define it, or even like in multiple 2D engines, you would define like here's where you're blocked off and here's where like the tree will render in front of the character. But you actually have it where you need to do that, but also the character needs to walk on the thing.
Yep. Yeah. It is very, very complicated and very, very, very strange. I mean, you can still do all those things. You can sort of define like, you know, where does this tree, for example, like at what point is this tree, am I in front of this tree or behind it, right? Is it from the center of the tree? But no, it should be at the center of the trunk, right? At the bottom. And so I can specify those things. I can specify the shape of the collisions. But it can just also really, it just depends so much that it became easier for me to just go, forget it. I'm just going to make my own collision tiles and I'm going to use that to shape things later. But as you can see, I don't put collision on a lot of things. And one of the reasons for that is I simply don't know what this park is going to look like yet, right? And if I have to go through the process of putting my collision tiles down, then I don't want to deal with that right now. And I used to have collision baked into everything, but there became so many edge cases that I was like, no, I don't. Sure, I want this tile, but I don't want it to have this particular collision, which Godot supports, but I don't want to like deal with that every single time I find a new edge case. So this is just so much easier to just do it this way. And then when I know what I need in the end, then I can apply the collision. So here again, we can see this is like another kind of like industrial area, and there's these walkways above. And so here we walk underneath the walkways. There is no way to get up there, but the thought is that when I get up there, I'll be on the upper floor, and then I can walk on those walkways up there instead. Yeah. So this is another area, this industrial place. Another area that I'm going to be going to is this is like an elevator, right? So if we take another look at that, it's like a weird elevator. Of course, I'm rendering underneath it. It's, again, a lot of things just are thrown in just so that I have a stage for the game. And this here is kind of like a big bridge. And this is hard to make out using blocks, but this is kind of like overlooking the park that we're in before. And that's the big building that was at the back of the park. So this is this big bridge, and there'll be like other stalls up here, people like on dates looking out over the park and things like that. It's just like a special place, basically. And you can take the elevator back down to the park, for example. Oop, this one broke. This one broke.
No, it's just a really dark room.
It is. Okay. Never mind. Oh, it's just taking a while to load. It's just taking a while to load, chat.
Mm-hmm. This is a big
there
area.
we are. There we are. It loaded. Okay. So from here, I have another area. Now this place, I wanted to show you this place because this is super not done. So this is like the very, very, very first thing I do is I start putting down these weird little tiles, and I'm just like looking for interesting shapes. And so this is supposed to be the upper level of a really, really high-rise city area. So there's going to be big buildings like here, maybe the roof of some buildings that you can walk on even, because it's the top of the buildings. And you've basically got all these platforms that like are floating above the lower city. And so I'm still just kind of sculpting this out to see what kind of shape do I want from this. But we can take the elevator over there to go down to the lower part of the city, and this is what it looks like underneath. So here, there's like food trucks down here. There's like a road down there as well. So there's some bridges that you can take to get to different parts, to get across the roads. And there are big, big, big buildings that obscure what you can see. And so one little solution that I'm currently working with is that they melt away as you walk in front of them in certain areas. And I can do that for certain things. So actually, that's something that I'm thinking of doing a lot of up here, is that there could be like stairs down here to a level that's just under this surface. That could be interesting. So you're still high up, but there's like a surface under this one. So that's something I'm planning on playing with. Yeah, and so there's like this whole area. And if we go down here, this takes us back to the transit area. That is a little bit more dressed up. And the reason this part here is all dressed up is this was mostly, and like a lot of it has like collision. Well, not here apparently. Okay, never mind. I think down in the bottom part has more collision. But the reason this is all dressed up is because it was more of a proof of concept. I wanted to be like, if I take the weird blockouts that I do and I were to try and dress it up in some way, how does that actually work out in the end? Now, this art is not the final art. I'm not happy with it at all. But like, I'm like, what is that process like to take to go from those colorful blockouts into this? And so the way that I did it, I can actually show you guys real quick, is if you give me 2 seconds.
Do you think it's scary to make like half-made art whenever you make anything?
Scary in what sense?
That like it's not gonna like give the proper vibe, and then you move on to something else, and you need to come back to it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm so unhappy with the vibe that
I guess that's good too. I mean, everything is just part of iterations, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it has been a pretty difficult process because like it's been kind of despair-inducing in many ways, because I just wasn't sure if like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm good enough to do it. I still don't really know. But like, either way, this is just part of the exploration for me. And I'm questions are being answered as I go. They might not be the final answer that I need, but there's something. So, I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to find the file that I'm looking for, so we might have to move on, which might be a shame.
By the way, Chad, I am fielding your questions, so we will get to them when we have a moment.
Cool. That would be good.
Yes. Turn the mood and vibe filter. I wish you could just like apply the good graphics filter, and then everything just looks done.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, I joke, but sometimes you can sort of get away with making very stylistic, basic choices and like make it very artsy, and then that's your art style. There's a couple of games that I know where they've done that, where like they were prototyping, and then let's make everything white, and then they were like, "This is dope. Let's just add like small details," and that's basically how. What's the EA's game called? The one where you run around on the roof. Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge
really?
Mirror's Edge,
it is a pretty...
like level design started off with that vibe, with like a lot of white and a lot of clean colors. And then they were like, "This is dope. Let's keep it."
I'm about to maybe give up on this. Ooh.
And then a blue screen just shows up.
No, I can't get it. I'm not sure where it is, so I don't want to waste too much more time. But basically, what I did was I have a way to maybe what I can do is I can switch to Godot real quick. We do studio mode. Where's Godot? Here.
Is it like on fire in the background?
Yeah. Okay, we'll do it this way. Desktop. Oh boy, this is scary.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Okay, yeah. So, for example, what I basically did was, if we take that off and go down to this. So this is what that level looked like initially, right? With this kind of block out. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to see, how do I take something that's blocked out like this? What does it become if I apply some art to it? And then so what I did was I created a tool in this thing here in Godot. So I made this little tool where I can define, you know, like this screenshot area, and then it will export the entire map out for me in its actual resolution, pixel resolution. And then I import that into Sprite, which is a pixel art, you know, drawing application, like editor, right? And then what I did was I just drew buildings on top of these and tried to make shapes out of them and make buildings, and tried to just capture some vibe so that it doesn't look like just solid colors and make it look like a city. And then what I did was I just stuck it on top. But I also did...
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's what it became. And I think that first step, like, you know, that jump from the block out to this, I think is really, really huge. And to me, gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I don't have the art I want yet. Fine. I do have some things that I like, but I am confident that this process will be okay, right? Like, if I keep going with this process, I'll be able to like map out the world, the city, in such a way that I'll be able to actually play the game and see, you know, add the quests and see if it's nice to move around the city, see if I can make it more interesting here and there, and then I know later I'll be able to add the art, and it'll be kind of okay. Yeah. So I think there was one more thing that I was thinking. Oh, that was weird.
See? Crash your computer. Told you, man.
Yeah, that one was OBS when I tried to switch to the game scene. Yeah, it crashed my game. Oh, what is this even loading?
You're just gonna load a completely different game.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Okay.
I can feel a question while you're looking around, maybe.
Okay, here we are.
Or no, let's go.
Yeah. So I think the only thing that left that I wanted to say was, oh yeah, that's what it is. So a lot of these are tiles, right? We can see that these are all made using tiles in Godot. But what I don't actually plan for these buildings to be tiles in the end. Again, this is just more of a prototyping process for me. I think what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to be cutting up the art into individual buildings and make them all like their own kind of sprites and then put them in. That way I've got the most control over where they sit on the level, how they look, and all of these kinds of things. And given that it's just going to be kind of simple 2D art stuff, I'm hoping that...
So break it down. Like when you say tile, do you mean that... Wait, go back. I didn't quite fully understand what you meant when you said tile.
Yeah. Okay, I'll show you. So we do desktop thing again. So here, I'm using tiles, right, to draw everything. So if we go to here, I can put down like...
As in like everything is on a grid, basically.
Yeah. So like that, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I could, of course, make a tile set of these like windows and stuff like that. And I could have them... And then I could paint the windows in using these tiles, like here, for example. I could do that, and then I could reuse those tiles. The thing that I don't want to deal with in those cases is that if I want any kind of variation, which is possible, right? But if I want any kind of variation, it all has to be like, well, I have to like make some variation and then apply the variation to it, and it's a little bit more rigid. And what I would just kind of like at the end of the day is like if I'm making a building, I want to just be able to draw in its details, every individual building's details, basically. I would just prefer that control. It could be that if I end up, with an art direction that is much more simple and solid, in that case, it just might make more sense for me just to use tiles to be quicker. But at the moment, I'd prefer to not have to be forced that everything is within the tile grid. So you can see here, where we're off like 2 pixels or something here. It comes out of the tile grid. I don't have to deal with that if they're just sprites.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically. Yep.
Do you think there are any disadvantages of doing that way compared to like keeping everything on a grid?
I think if you're gonna I think I'm probably maybe creating more work for myself if I'm planning on making more details. So there's that. I'm sure that it's probably not as efficient either, because if there's going to be a lot more different assets that are like unique textures basically for all these buildings, it would be cheaper to reference the same tile sheet for all the buildings, I would assume. But I also, at least right now, maybe famous last words, don't think that I'm going to run into sort of performance issues with sprites of this resolution, because I think that the screen is like, I think 480 by, what is it? I don't know. It's 1920 by 1080 divided by 4, basically. So, so I don't think I'm gonna have performance issues. So I think it's gonna be okay. But yeah, like my game's movement isn't tile based either. Like there's not that much of a reason that I should do it unless it makes things easier for me to make. And I think it does make things easier for like the ground, for example. So if I'm ever dealing with like ground stuff, I think tiles are really nice for that, and I might do that for that. But then for the buildings, I think I'm probably just going to make custom sprites. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it always has to make sense to you.
Yeah. It may also become easier for me to do things like designating where a building is in front of the player and behind per building as well. Like that might help too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through some questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like figure out what's the best order here, but we might need to jump around a little bit. Yeah. But one question. Oh, you jumped to your scene. Oh, fuck.
Oh, Jace. Oh, shit. 2 people. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So the first question is like regarding inspiration. So do you have like a inspiration for your entire city, or like how do you figure out vibe wise what are you going to go for?
The city is very inspired by I think my time living in Japan, but there's a little bit more to the city than like what's shown that will be shown in this part here. So it sort of depends. Like there's a story in the game, and the city has different districts that have different vibes to them, and those vibes are the way they are for a specific purpose, basically. Yeah. But generally what I would like to do is I would like to get my city to look in this, most of what you saw to look and feel a little bit more like areas of Japan that I used to live near. Yeah, basically.
Are you doing any like kind of mood boarding or anything like that for areas, or are you just like going offhand when you're designing anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a lot of like mood board stuff, like a lot of like reference pictures and things that I've gotten for city stuff in general. But honestly, also just Google Street View is very useful
Yeah.
for like yeah, like you know the big building section of that I showed you guys. Like the area that comes to my mind is an area called Umeda in Osaka, and like that's just the inspiration of that, you know, and some of the more main areas where it started with the sand pit, the kind of park area and the vending machines. That was more of like the area that I used to live in. Even some of the colors of the buildings, for example. So those are the kind of inspirations. Yeah.
How are you drawing any inspirations from like when you mentioned Street View, that clicked to me because that's a lot for me as well. Like I think in general people would be surprised at like how much inspiration you grab from like real life when you do any kind of level design.
Yeah.
I know that like Hannah, when she works on Satisfactory, she would look at like Google Maps
Yeah.
and like
Google
look at
Earth.
like yeah, exactly, and see how like sand would like be dispersed in like in deserts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. And same for me. I'll talk a little bit about that too when I talk to my segment here. But it's super good to get like proper inspiration and like proper references, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So like my question here, or my follow-up here was rather that, do you also like take inspiration for like your navigation and stuff like that, or is that freehand?
The navigation so far has been YOLO, which is something that I've tried to put more thought into, but like I think as someone who's not a level designer, I couldn't really come to any conclusions that were satisfying to me. So I just started just putting any shit down, you know, whatever, with the intention again to like massage it later, right? So like as I move around and as things start to form, I think it'll become clear to me like what are some problem areas, which part, like I already know, like there's already some parts where I'm like it is just too boring to walk this long to the right, you know? So I'm like, I have to do something. Like it needs to be a little bit more interesting or whatever.
Yeah.
But another one thought that I put something I put a lot of thought into is I don't know how you guys felt just like looking at all the different screens and stuff of the city, but I hope that it feels like it's a complicated place to navigate. Not like a maze or anything, but like that there's a lot of avenues, you know, you can get from one place to another. You can get from one place to another through a lot of different means, and that is a very intentional thing because I think that creates like this feeling of that this city is big, right, and that we're really traversing the city as we do that. But the other reason I do it is there's two other reasons. The second reason is that I think as you play the game, you start learning the quickest way to get from place to place, and I think that's a nice little soft skill to develop as you play the game. You know, you're basically getting better at navigating. And then the other thing is it actually means that from the furthest point of the map to the other furthest point of the map, it's like, I think, a maximum of 3 screens. And that's the worst case scenario. And so I don't want to force the player to be running the maximum distance all the time. But I think that in the worst case scenario, if they do have to run that far, it's not that bad. Yeah.
I guess that's a tricky balance to get to, right? Because if you wanted to feel like you get a little bit lost when you're starting out, but then you also don't want it to feel like when you play the game for a bit that it's just frustrating to move around.
Yeah.
So like, but that I get that inspiration though, because that is like when you move to a new city and like you don't recognize all the areas, you don't know how to get.
You feel lost.
Yeah.
And that's intentional. I do want that feeling in folks. And it's not even just a vibes thing that I want to invoke in people. It's also like like there are reasons for you to do that in the game too. So there are reasons for you to become more familiar with that, and I hope that pays off a little bit too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
A game that comes to mind is Elf's Heartbreak, where
yeah, exactly. It was literally in my head as well. Yeah,
because that city is super complicated,
Yeah.
like with how you, because they also have like you have to go through rooms to get to other side of buildings and shit. So like it can be really complicated to figure out where to go. But that's like part of the charm with that
Yeah.
city is that like feels super crowded and it feels
Yeah.
very like complicated and it feels like it's
And-
alive.
And Soupy's saying here, landmarks help exactly. Yeah, And
Yeah.
and that is like a big thing with. Yeah, I think they did that pretty well in Elf's Heartbreak as well. Like every district was like almost named after the landmark that was of that section, right? And it's the same kind of concept with my game as well. Like every district has like its main thing. Like what's this big thing here? Just to make sure that people know. I plan on like also adding like a map so that people can like visually orient themselves. Like, oh, I'm here. The other place is to the west. All right, I gotta go that way. But yeah, how you get there, I think would be good. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think the thing they did so well is also like colors. Like certain areas have the same colors, and like you know when you're in one area, like where to go next, and blah blah blah.
yeah.
All right. So next question is regarding to like phases and like, or rather iteration of things. So like, how do you understand what design phase is complete and proceed to the next for implementing? Like, I guess that's the bigger question. The first question here is like, when do you know you're done with the blockout and when do you proceed?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know really yet is the answer. I think that there's some areas that, so the main transit area that I showed y'all first, I wouldn't say I'm 100% okay with its layout, but I know that I am significantly more okay with its layout than I used to be. And that's kind of my compass right now. So I don't really know, is kind of the answer. And so I know that like as I massage things, I'll get more ideas. I'll become more okay with things over time as I work with it. And that's just kind of like what I'm going for right now. And the good thing is, I'm not sitting here focusing on level design all day, every day. Clearly, but like one of the reasons why I make the map, and I've made the map what it is so that I can create story elements and quests, right? And then I think when more of those are in place, and as I playtest my game and I'm being forced to move around to these areas, I'm going to start getting more ideas, and I'm going to start getting, or I'm going to get irked by certain areas a little bit more, and be like, fuck, this place really, really frustrates me. I need to rework this part. Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's actually something I'm curious about is how you feel. Do you feel like you need to have like the entire city sort of in place? I don't say you need to finish the entire city, but like you need to have blocked out the entire city for you to be able to add quests and like get a vibe for what it's like moving from quest to quest, or...
No, not necessarily. And this isn't the whole city. So this is just most of the city. This is one kind of district basically, but it's the biggest one. So this is the kind of the point where I'm like, I wanted to get a block out of this area. And then I don't have to worry about this anymore, basically. But I definitely didn't need all of this to do some of the other stuff. And I have done some of the other stuff. I do have some quest stuff. I do have cutscenes going where you move around the city and certain things happen. So some of that is already happening. But yeah.
And I guess
it's also why I'm not rushing to get like like all the areas to like a really high standard, because it's not that relevant yet. I'm not at a point in my cutscenes or quests that require that yet.
Yeah. Because it is a little bit of, this is the thing that I sort of realized, and I'll talk more about this too, but where you're sort of like, you start doing level design and then you realize some things that need to work with the rest of the game. And then that feeds into like changes that need to happen somewhere else. And then that goes back to level design. So like, it's like a circular dependency constantly between level design and the game itself.
Yeah.
And those both have to like kind of cultivate each other.
Another really good reason not to like over implement stuff too early, right? Because like if that was done, then it's like, well, got to undo all that work, or it becomes really hard to rework. It would feel a bit icky to put too much work in. Like I already think I put in too much work for the starting area, but that was also kind of a vibe check. So it served as that function too.
So what do you do? So regarding collision, if you place down stuff and you feel like you need to change things around, what do you do if you move something after you place the collision? Or do you feel like you need to know that if I'm placing down collision here, I have to be done with this part? Or
no, I can show you guys real quick if you like. I think let's see here. It's a very easy process. So I'm generally just not going to block out the collision unless I really need to, basically. Right. But if I let's say if we go up here, the way it sort of works is I can just add a PG tile map layer. Call this one collision. I think I used this one for it. Let's test real quick. Ugh, wrong one. Here we are. Yeah, so this has collision on it. So this is basically all I do. I just like go and trace these collisions. And so the process itself is, you know, I just do this, or just make big blocks. Boom, can't walk there, can't walk there. Right? And then I can like, this is usually all hidden behind stuff. I think I can turn this off and it still works. I'm not sure. But that's basically how I do it, right? So if I have to rework stuff, it becomes a little bit of a pain to redo the collision. You know, like, so if we're, for example, going to say, well, this actually goes over here like this now, and collision would be below. So then all I would just sort of do is I would come back in here and remove the collision and make sure that it's not there.
Gotcha.
And then just reapply it. So it's like the process is not very hard. Like there's another more granular level of collision that could probably happen. That could maybe get really annoying if there's like, you know, teeny tiny things that I'm trying to get perfect. And that I would just save till later. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What happens if you miss a spot after you moved it? That is the crux of it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta make sure you don't, I guess.
Yeah.
But there are ways. I've just forgotten how to do it. Yeah. I think this is it here, where if you click this button here, you can sort of see it highlights it. It sort of hides everything else, and so you can sort of use this to find stuff. Or what I could always do as well is I could always like put collision, make sure collision is on top. So if I'd like missed a spot there, right, while it was behind, oh, I've done the wrong thing. It goes there like this. This goes, yeah. Oh my God, what is going on? Oh, this is I see. Derp.
You can basically debug where you have collision over your map, and
yeah. So this is what I wanted to do. So like, let's say I accidentally missed a spot here. I mean, I can always just move the collision up, and then I'd be like, oh, that's no good. Get rid of it. Back down. So like, there's a bunch of ways I can deal with it.
Yeah, this is a problem that most games have to deal with, because like, I mean, it's the same thing in like 3D games where when you're placing down rocks and stuff, you don't want to like have maybe collision on every single piece that you place down. So sometimes you do need to have separate collision logic versus the thing that you're placing down, and then you got to make sure that the level still works.
Yep.
So it's just all part of QA. I'm sure there's like ways you can automate some of this stuff, but level design, I feel like it's kind of tricky to know intent when you automate systems to like check.
Yeah, to me personally, I wouldn't want to do it. No. Just because it's like there's just there's so many edge cases that I think are just going to go wrong, and they're probably not even edge cases. It's probably just like regular cases, you know, somewhat below average cases that would probably go wrong. But yeah.
Let's see here. Level design is more simple for not connected levels, but what about open world games? Should they be designed as one thing and then implemented, or should they be split into areas and split into quests, or implemented separately? I think, because, okay, let's back up. There was one time where you were thinking of doing the entire map as like one level, right?
Yep.
Or am I misremembering this, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the main reason why you decided not to do that?
Yeah. There was a few reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing it up for you. Okay, right. Hang on a second. I actually have it. So,
because you made like a big map of the entire thing, and it's like, here are all the sections. And
I did. Here we are.
Here we go.
Yeah. So this is what the city looked like before. And the reason, basically, the two big reasons, is it maybe three? Well, one, it was kind of hard to, like, if I wanted to move something over, if I'm like, I want the park to be a little bit bigger, well, rip all this shit. you know what I mean? like, well, now what? If I move this out here, what happens here? You know? If this needed to be shorter, what happens here? You know what I mean? This kind of knock-on effect. And I don't think that's an impossible thing to overcome, but I'm not a skilled level designer. So, you know, what are you going to do, right? So that's one reason. Another reason was, what are they called? Liminal spaces, I think is what they're called.
Yep.
It's like the spaces between other spaces. So if we were to look at this and be like, this is like an aquarium place, and then like and then we get to the transit center area, and then there's like this place here, you know, and then there's a park, and we have to have all these like weird little empty spaces that kind of connect and be interesting. They need to transition from one area to the other, and it's not the same kind of transition that like if you exit a level and load at another level, that's one kind of transition. But the other transition is you're traveling through those liminal spaces into a new area. Like, how do I transition from this big park into the high-rise district, right? Like, I don't really know. And so that was kind of like a problem that I was running into that I wasn't a huge fan of. The other reason was there was something about story-wise, I wanted you to feel like you were navigating more of the city that you're going to be in, which is still only going to be a small, tiny part of the overall city, right? But I wanted you to feel like you were going further than you were, and that you were, you know, I wanted this city to feel bigger than it was. And I think that when you move through these like little level load parts, it feels like you're, you know, and then you're in a completely new place that looks completely different. It can have different colors, different building things, different maybe looking people, who knows, right? Like it could really feel like you've gone a long way to get here, without having you, the player, to actually have to do that. And so I really, really was interested in that kind of concept as well. So that's why I got rid of this approach, and I went for the little segmented ones instead. That, you know, I could just do like a little thing like this, or you know, this kind of the bridge here, and I could just play in my own little sandbox for each one. Yeah.
And to sort of answer the question too, is like, yeah, you do break it down. You don't really work on the entire map at once. It depends a little bit like how you implement it, because certain games need, like, if you're making like an open world game where you want like the environment to be, you know, a big terrain, and it needs to be like logical with like, you know, how water flows and rivers and mountains and stuff like that. Usually you need to separate the different stages of how you make it into like different tools sometimes. So for instance, for Satisfactory, they used a tool called Gaia to make like the landscape for a lot of stuff. And with Gaia, you can like, it's a little bit of a procedural thing where you can like type in like, I want a mountain here, and I want the river to fall on this side of the mountain. And that means that it'll get shaped like this. And then you import it into Unreal Engine and you get the landscape, and then you can sculpt with it a little bit and touch it up and stuff like that. But you can do it in segments, so you don't have to do the entire thing at once, so to speak. But it kind of depends on the game, I'd say. But it's very hard to just make the entire thing all at once, basically. All right. Should we jump over to my shit?
Yeah. Definitely curious. There were more questions. If we've got more time at the end, we can, I think we've written them down. So,
okay. So Jason's been working on level design. I've also, so here's what happened for me the last couple of weeks is that my ambition was that I'm going to do level design. I'm going to prototype a little bit and see what it's like. And the thing that I sort of learned when I was making the levels and I was playing through them is that, and we talked about this last week, where I felt like my game has a lot of mechanics, but there's no like intricacy between the mechanics, and there's no like proper loop. There's core loops, but there's no big loop in my game right now. And when I was playing it, I felt like I need to understand what the main loop is before I go too far here, right? I don't want to spend a lot of time making levels when I'm realizing that, oh shit, I can't make it this way. I have to change it and I have to rethink how I'm making it. And this is mostly how I implement it. So the problem that I was running into was that I couldn't really decide on like how to actually implement the levels. In Unreal Engine, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can create like a big open world. It doesn't have to be a big open world, but like you can create a big landscape and then you can fill it in and work on that. And then you can use their tool that like streams in things as you go. So you create the big level and then you work on segments on it, and then Unreal Engine will load it in. But you can also manually do that loading, unloading thing. And one thing I'm sort of like touching on is like whether or not I want some of this like kind of like roguelike elements to my game where maybe part of the area gets loaded in certain days, and then maybe some days another part of the level is loaded in. So I needed to figure out like, okay, one, does that game loop make sense for my game? And two, how do I technically implement that so it makes sense? So that sort of put me on a fucking downward spiral, and then I started refactoring everything, and now I'm
Snook crashing out.
Yeah, and now I'm not even touching level design anymore. I'm working on so many other things. Now I'm working on my inventory system, which is so fucking. You know that like video of from Malcolm in the Middle where the dad goes him and is like tries to turn on the light. It's like, oh, the light's not working. And then goes to get a bulb, and then like, oh, this drawer is squeaking.
right.
And then it keeps going down. This is basically what happened for me. So I don't have anything cool to show off. But what I want to talk about a little bit is how I've been working on making levels for my game. And like what tools exist to be able to prototype and that kind of stuff. Because I think some people might find that interesting. So I booted up, this is the project from a couple of weeks ago where we showed off the weird first person thing. So I just have this is a dummy project just to
Look
show
at all
off.
these interactable objects.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can definitely climb up there, right?
Walk into it. You can walk up this ramp here. So yeah, this is a pretty spaced out level. So the way that I approach it is typically I'd want to make it more bare. So I usually would just remove everything here, but I'm just going to roll with this for now. So in Unreal Engine, there's a lot of really cool tools for blocking out. And there used to be something called brush editing where you would create what they would call brushes. And this is like sort of old school where you create like shapes, and then with the shapes, you could create other shapes and blah, blah, blah. And this is sort of deprecated now. So now you use something called modeling, where basically you have a full-on modeler in Engine. So you can create like, you know, you can take a box here, for instance, and then you can open that up in the modeler. I have to accept it first, and then do like, you know, let's take this edge and pull it out. You know, sort of. It's a very dumbed down version of what a 3D modeler would be like, right? So this is like the dumbed down version of Blender, basically.
You can make a giraffe out of that.
Yeah, but this is not. I just got that reference. But the way I prefer doing it actually is by using the cube grid. So this is another tool that exists in it, where it basically, like you said with the tiles, right? It divides everything up into voxels in the level. So you can define shapes like this on the grid. So like you can take this and you can pull it out, like boo. So here's a shape, and then you can keep going. So like, what if I make it like a little ship, maybe, sort of, so you can drag this up.
Oh my god, this feels like gummy ship stuff from Kingdom Hearts.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Actually does, right?
Yeah, so like, oh, maybe I want to get a wing out here, you know, like, and obviously I'm sort of dumbing it down because you can do, you can like change the size of the, you know, the grid, so you can divvy it up. So like if you want to go details,
right.
you can do this, you know.
So you can actually get pretty granular with it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can also take this and do the editing that I did before, right? So if I wanted, for instance, to have a ramp here, right, I could just do this, you know. And the cool thing is that this is just like immediately playable. So like it's got collision. It has very dumbed down collision. So it's using complex collision, which is not super performant. So you actually do need to make custom collision for it eventually.
But it's good to prototype and get, hit the ground running.
Yeah,
basically.
for prototyping this is fine. And since you're mostly making low poly shit anyways, this is for the most part fine. So like if I'm to design a level, I would probably, do the basics. So if I want to do like a house, for instance, I would probably like just define like, okay, here's my wall, pull that out. Here's another wall.
I would live there.
I'm not even done yet, dude.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah. So like if I'm gonna make like a little house, for instance, I can also pull it from here, get the shape
fancy.
of it. I'm also using I'm not using the correct material right now, but I have a material that is basically using oh shit, I need to redo this. It basically uses an absolute grid over everything. So like no matter where you place it, it will always follow this absolute grid. So you can still see the size of everything. One thing that's really important that I find is...
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So like you see how... let me see if I can...
Oh, wait. Can you move it again? I think I noticed.
Yeah. So like, for instance, if I stretch this out, right? You can see how like this side adds it still stays on the absolute grid.
Right. And if you move if I move it, across?
Yeah, if I move it, it will keep its own, like, it's only when like I create it that it has this like absolute grid.
I see.
But it's like it keeps it sick for when you're shaping things, so you can get scale of things. I see.
Nice.
And one thing that I find really important is to add a let me find. Do I have it? Let me find Manny. Where are you? Here. So I don't have it in this project, but I have a script that just every like 20 meters or something, it places a mannequin, like the character here, just so I can see the shape of it. So just imagine that I have like, every so often there's a mannequin standing on my level.
Can you imagine this in real life? God damn.
Just so that I can get some sense of scale, because the biggest problem when you're making 3D levels is that scale is so hard, because like when you zoom in and out, like you have no sense of like how big anything is, and when you start playing you realize like, oh shit, this was actually a lot bigger than I thought. So it's really important to have these like mannequins placed everywhere so I can just get a sense of like how big things are. But yeah, so if I go back to here and I make like let's make a little wall here, for instance. I can make like make a tiny little house here.
We've got so many of the nice quality of life shortcuts as well. I can see you can click, you're probably shift clicking at the top one and it's auto selecting between.
Exactly.
Damn, that's really nice UX.
And then you can do these things where like, bloop, get a little hole here.
Light. Nice.
So now
Subtract.
I have a little space here. Yeah. Cheap living.
Yep.
And yeah, you can, and then afterwards.
Solo dev now.
And then afterwards you can shape it. So if you need to like do something special, like if I want a chimney or something and I don't want to block it out. And you can do this for like the environment and the walls and stuff, but you can also make it for like, if I want to make like a desk or something, I would probably like define like, okay, here's actually I could probably do it this way. How to do this again? Slide forward is, right, this way. So like I'd make a little thing here, and then, maybe it's one of those cool middle, fuck this up.
Oh, damn. That was a cool little trick though.
There. So
it's a ping pong table.
Yeah, so now I like a little ping pong table.
Yeah.
And then obviously you could like, now this became one object, but you can also imagine that I can just make separate meshes, right? And then just populate the world, so I can just copy and paste this.
Can you divide those meshes now, or is it like editing time is over?
I think I can. I just don't remember how to do it. I think I need to do like, I can't remember how to do it, because I need to use the like select and whatever. I can't remember how to do it. But yeah, so you can actually, let me do this instead. Let me go back to the cube grid and then just do wrong. Just remove this. Whoops.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, just do that.
Just look
instead.
cool.
Yeah. And then another thing that's really important is like you can change like pivots and stuff. So for instance, if I'm creating a table like this, right, I want the pivot to be right where the table is at. But maybe depending on the shape, sometimes you want the pivot to be like at the center of it. So like maybe for this, it makes sense to have it here. So now when I'm moving around, right, it's always centered, and if I rotate it, it will rotate on the center.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can do a lot. I didn't remember deselect this time. You can do a lot by just making like a box there, change the pivot, edit pivot to be at the corner of the box. Bam. And then now this is a shape. And then you can just take this and just use scale. So like I can basically do the same thing, right? Where I can just like scale this up and down. So if I want to make that table again, I can just like do this and then take this and then scale this down. Oop. Very crude, but you get the point. Yeah, it's a much bigger table. And then what you can do, another cool thing, is that you can take these two models in the engine, go back into the modeling thing, go to here, and then merge them. And now this is one mesh. So now I can just copy and paste and make, you know,
can you save these as like assets that are in your asset browser that you can use elsewhere on other maps?
Yeah, so you can choose. So right now I had it set to dynamic meshes. So these should probably not be dynamic meshes. So dynamic meshes are just like saved in the level. So when you load the level, all the things that I create as a dynamic mesh will only exist in that level. And that's nice when you're prototyping, because you don't want to save all this like stuff.
You don't want these assets. Yeah.
But for some of this stuff, when you want to like maybe you reuse them in multiple levels, then you definitely want to make them as meshes. And I don't remember how to change, but you can select like when you create them that like, these are static meshes actually. So if I save this now, and if I do like lookup, here it is.
Oh, okay.
So here's the mesh that I just created. And I can actually, I think you can export this as well and bring it into Blender if you want to like do anything special with it, or if you want to UV tile it or whatever.
That's a bit cheeky.
A little bit.
A little bit cheeky.
So that's a lot that I've done. Another really cool thing with this tool specifically is that all this stuff is also accessible in Blueprint. So Blueprint is like the visual scripting language that Unreal has, which means that you can extend all this logic and make really, really cool things with it.
Oh, sick.
So one thing that I've done is, let's see what I put this. So it's called geometry scripting. I can just show what it looks like here. This is the code that I put together. So this will generate a shape for me. And I can define the shape for me as like variables. So what I've done here is I've made a way for it to generate like just rows of squares, basically. Whoops, what the fuck is happening? I don't know what. Oh, it's mouse without borders that's messing me up. 1 second. I can't, or I'll just do this, actually. So let's just set the base scale for everything. Why is it not showing it? Is it like super far away or something? No. Oh. And then there we go. So this generates like a bunch of boxes, right? So I'm like, I want to make 4. It should be 5, but whatever. I guess it's like 1 less here. So this just generates boxes in a row, and you can apply the same thing I said before, right? Where like, okay, if I place some scale here, so what if I just scale them down, make them a bit narrow, make them like that, change the spacing a little bit. So
we got like a little fence.
Narrow. Exactly. So now I have like a little fence, and then change the height, maybe pull it down so I can see it in the size here. And then like maybe change the scaling a little bit, change the spacing. Another thing I've added here is also so I can like have randomness to it. So I can also have like, you know, a little bit of yaw and like a little bit of a roll. So if I want some of the planks to like be a little bit messed up.
Oh, that's sick.
I can do this.
Just pick a random value within that range.
Yeah, and then I have like a seed, so I can like, if I don't like this, I can just change the seed.
And jiggle, jiggle.
Jesus Christ, the most
My
of the
planks don't jiggle, jiggle, they fold.
And then I can just like, okay, take this, copy, and then move it, rotate it by 90 degrees.
Oof, you're making like a palette.
Change it so it's just 1. Yeah, I can do that too. That's true, actually. I haven't thought about that. And then probably not have this. And then like change the spacing a lot. Whoops. Oh God, mouse inputs keeps messing me up. And just like fix this so it matches a bit better.
Nice.
Together. And then yeah, merge them. Take these two. Merge. Whoops. And bam, I have a little fence. And now I can duplicate this and like
that's
place
awesome
it on my map. So it's really, really powerful to do this stuff. So like I have working on like rooms. If I want to generate like houses, I could basically just make a blueprint and just like generate the house and have that same randomness to it. And then instead of me like manually copy and pasting and placing down houses, I could just like plop down this blueprint and bam, have a house basically.
But so these fences here, these are already, because you had your geometry script build them, and they're just stored as a static mesh. So these are all the same model, right? Now, at this point, right? Yeah. Because your script only runs a generation time, and then you.
Yeah. And the script is mostly just there to get the starting point, right? So it's not. I'm not supposed to like do procedural generation and randomize everything. Like it's just there for me to get going, you know. And obviously, the more broad I make it, the better. So like in here, like this isn't a fence making geometry script, right? This is just like just space out boxes. Because at the end of the day, when you're doing level prototyping and stuff, you want to keep it as simple as possible. You don't want to have like, you know, this is fine as a table. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. Like it looks ugly as fuck. But it tells you like when you walk in here, like, oh, there's an outhouse table here or something. You know, if I want to make a chair, I could just do the poor basic chair of that as well. And that will sort of tell, you know, the story. So long as I get scaled right, that's the important thing. It will, you know, I'll be able to like tell what it is, you know? So it's basically like Minecraft, but a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, someone was saying earlier that you're basically playing Minecraft but being productive about it.
Exactly.
Hey, Minecraft is productive. It's productivity.
It is now. You know, so now I have like a little chair here.
Snut's a little chair.
Yeah. So maybe this is like a little garden patio thingy here now. And then walk around and see like, maybe the scale makes sense. Also can eject and make sure that the scale seems correct. This seems like a pretty small table, but it'll do for now.
Be a little higher, but
yeah. So basically, this is the process when I'm prototyping, and I've been doing a lot of like. One area that I'm working on is, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I was planning on making like a shipyard. So I've been like just Googling like shipyard pictures and trying to figure out like. How are shipyards designed? Like, how are they placed? You know, what's the purpose of all the like different machines that exist at a shipyard? Why are they placed where they are? And you know, when you're doing levels in 3D, like they don't have to be logical and make sense. They just have to sort of give you the vibe that they make sense.
Yeah.
You know.
But
because like it still needs to be the game goes first, right?
It makes sense. You just don't want any glaringly obvious like immersion breaking things, right?
Yeah.
That rip people out of what they were doing.
Exactly. So this is basically how I'm doing level designing. I like making it as blocky as possible. There's like a school of thought where when you're designing, you want to keep things on a grid as much as you can. And then when you have like the shape of things, that's when you start moving things around and make it not part of the like you don't have to do a lot to like make it feel like it's not grid based. But I think that uniformal like shape of things when you're moving around still feels like that makes it feel like things make more sense. Right. Feel more structured.
I mean, I can totally see that because at this stage when you're blocking things out like that, you know, you have a completely separate goal. You're not trying to have fun with the game, right? Like you're assessing things, you know? And so it seems like it makes it much easier for you to do that and to rework things and make decisions on where you should place things if you have a more like finite number of sort of places to put things.
And then there's a lot of like the talk that we talked about previously. Like there's a lot of that going as well with my designing right now, where, you know, if I did this and I, as a player running here, like there's nothing, what am I supposed to do here? It doesn't really tell me anything, right? But what if I had like a, you know, what if there was a big tower here, you know? Then
I don't know if you can share that on Twitch.
and you're running, you like see that like, I wonder what's going on here. So that makes you curious as to like walk around, right, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that. But these are the tools that they can use.
I've also been fielding questions. Are you up for one now?
Go for it.
All right. Hopefully I can get this right. Did it work? Oh, it did. From Corey is cool. How should object scale be approached in 3D games? That cube you made earlier looked large compared to many, but from the perspective, player perspective, it looks small. In Satisfactory, I think we see a splitter or merger as one square unit, but in third person, we see that they're much larger than the Pioneer. Yeah, so I don't really know because I haven't dealt with it, but what about you, Snutt? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, Satisfactory in particular is really deceiving because whenever we made trailers, everything looked so much smaller in like shots, but things are fucking massive, and it's tricky. I think I don't know. It depends a little bit of like what you focus on, because like you say here, like when you look at it here, like from this perspective, it kind of looks okay, right? When you're walking around. I even have like a proper first person, like even as I stand here, like it still sort of looks fine, right? But when you actually do the comparison, you see like, it's not me, it's close.
Yeah.
And I think this is a problem that some games just have, that like scale is really hard to convey, especially in like shooters where you also have like the arms in front of the camera, and that's not like realistic either, because you always want the hand to be in front of the camera. But you know, if you turn to the right and you look to the right, you know, your arm isn't going to like magically be placed perfectly to your face all the time if you were holding a gun or whatever, right? So the way that I see it is like you always have this sense of unrealistic sort of like space that you're occupying. And so long as it makes sense in the view that you're playing from, I think that's where, you know, then it will probably work out.
Yeah, and it's usually more of like a relative thing, right? Like the scale needs to work with everything else, right? So like the chairs should match the table, which should match the fence, right? Because I think, especially in first person at least, because at the end of the day, that's the only stuff that really matters that much. And there's probably a lot of leeway that can probably happen between you and the world. Yeah. But as long as the rest of the world is like relative to itself sorted, I think you're probably a long way there.
Because like it's really tricky for like games like Skyrim, right, where you have both third person and first person. Like sometimes it feels off in third person. I think one game that really does it really well is Resident Evil, because they have the thing where you can switch. Okay. I don't like playing Resident Evil in third person because it really feels like they've designed the game for first person in mind still, but they've nailed the scale at least of things. And that is really hard to do, I think.
Okay. Got some other questions. So we got a two-parter from Felix here. So the first part of the question is actually, is this the same software that you use when making animations? But then they also say, as a game dev, since you know how to design 3D models and animate them, don't you technically know how to do animated movies if you wanted to? So could you make an animated movie in Unreal Engine 3?
In 3 for sure.
5, sorry.
I mean, all the trailers of Satisfactory were made in.
I looked at 3D models. Yeah.
So definitely, I mean, there's very powerful cinematic tools. Like if I add, how do you do this again when you do it from scratch? Add level sequence.
There's some of the newer stuff, right, with Unreal Engine 5 that's got really good.
Oh, so good, dude.
The animation stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So like you can add like a sequencer and then add a camera here, and you know, like here's my little camera. Let's see if I can.
So it's a little camera.
Yeah. Place this in the world. How do you do this again? It's been a while since I did this. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if there are movies that are made in Unreal Engine, but there's definitely like a lot of like use cases for like art visualization, architectural visualization, and you know, a lot of game trailers I made in Unreal Engine.
Yeah. The
So
Among
like,
the Wild one was as well.
yeah. So like there's a lot of tools that exist to be able to do this stuff. Here's like the little
Yep.
but like for this kind of stuff, like if you're actually adding proper assets, you probably don't want to use these modeling tools. You probably want to use like Blender or Maya or whatever, just because they're so much more refined. Like it's very limiting to do some of the stuff. Sometimes I just like want to open Blender to make something, but I also try to like not make it too complicated. And I think that's kind of why it's nice that it's kind of limiting. That the modeling tools is kind of limiting. Because it kind of forces you to not go too far.
Not overdo things.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. Star Wars uses Unreal Engine for their backgrounds. Yeah, I can imagine Unreal Engine is really good for like a lot of like maybe even like procedural stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars does a thing where they have like a big screen and then they match the camera movement with the camera in game. So like if you move the camera in real life to the left, they would do it in Unreal Engine as well. And there's like trackers on the camera to match. I know that's a big deal on Unreal Engine.
Okay, we got another one here. From Cubic Meter. Did it appear? I don't know. Do I have to disable the message first? No, right?
No, you should just be able to. Did it not want to show up?
No, I'm dumb. Never mind. Never mind.
Don't
How embarrassing.
Don't talk about it. Move on.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing. Okay. Next one here from Cubic Meter. Here we go. So in game studios, is level design engineer a separate role? I mean, I don't know if I've ever heard of a role called level design engineer, so specifically, but I can imagine there being all sorts of like, I mean, I think within game dev, because there were so many different kinds of games and so many different kinds of requirements, there's a lot of like fluidity between roles and responsibilities. So like there's absolutely going to be places where some more technically minded level design people will start working with tools or automations for their level design, or you might end up getting specifically tools programmers to work alongside level designers to make sure that they're getting what they need, or that they can do the things that they want to do. So like I'm not really sure. I haven't heard specifically of like I'm a level design engineer for level design tech specifically, but like I'm sure it probably exists. I'm sure that need is out there. I'm sure that there are folks who are filling that role right now in some studios. Yeah.
Well, I guess the beauty of visual scripting specifically is that like anyone can become a tech artist kind of in these engines. So like if you are a level designer and you want to like dip your toes into doing a little bit more complicated stuff, it's not that tricky to like just like I showcased. I mean, obviously when you look at it here, this looks really complicated. It's also because it's a fucking mess. I use a plugin called Electronic Nodes in Unreal Engine that makes all these like lines to be straight and like not doing this weird like curve thing, which makes it a lot easier to read. It looks like there's like Metro maps. It has that like vibe to it.
Right.
But like it really isn't super complicated. Like if I wrote this in code,
this looks more intimidating than it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably,
so like this isn't that much to get into, and like this can be simplified as well. But I also know that like at a lot of studios, usually like a tech artist or like a programmer even, a level designer will come and say like, hey, it would be cool if this part of, it would be cool if I could make a tool that would space out boxes. Can anyone make that? And it's like, sure. And then the programmer does it or a tech artist does it. That's not too uncommon. It's just like a production thing where can they dedicate some time for me to make some level prototyping tools? These kind of like necessities actually come a lot. There's a lot of tools that are written for editors and like for just the engine that you guys don't even see, just to make it easier to work with. I mean, your game is a good example of this too. Like there's a ton of tools that you've made that is just to make the process easier for you to streamline and
just to actually make it. Yeah. Exactly. Let's see here. Do we want to do some more of these?
I think some of these might be.
That one's already done.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that are here were from. Yeah.
Just feeling.
So there was we'll just take these ones for now. So Dexath asked 2 questions. I'm gonna combine them into one. This is about my game, and so the first part is: do you want your buildings to look brand new or a bit run down? Oh damn, that appeared really quickly. And the answer is depends on the area of my game. There's going to be some areas that are going to look a little bit more run down. Some areas that are going to look really, really like plastic wrapped and polished is what I would like, and very, perfect. But then some areas are going to be a little bit sort of like more in between, where it's like you're more average. It's a little run down, but it's okay. It's like lived in. So I want a little bit of that vibe as well. And then the second part of your question is, do big collision blocks take more PC power than lines? So when I was using the tile maps to draw in tiles, at the end of the day, it's just more tiles, right? They're just, it doesn't matter if there's like a larger block of them, so to necessarily. It's more of like how big is the entire grid overall is probably what matters more than anything. If there's complex collision in those tiles, that could become maybe a little bit more difficult potentially. But for there kind of isn't really. There's other kinds of collision that you can do, like in Godot, in anything. I don't even have to use the tiles at all. I could just draw collision shapes. I could use just rectangles. They might even be cheaper than the tiles themselves. But then there's like, you can also just draw like with a pen almost like what collision shape you want, and that starts to get a little bit more complicated. So yeah, it sort of depends what you want to do. But I'm sure that at the end of the day, if I wanted to optimize, if I knew exactly how everything is supposed to be, I might even do away with the collision tile layer entirely, and I might be able to just use like bounding boxes, which might actually end up being cheaper because I can cover a whole area with one collision instead of all of these individual tiles being checked. Yeah. So that might be something I might do.
Do you use any finite state machines in any of your code? I don't at the moment.
I don't think I do. I don't think I will either.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I actually had a. No, not really. I think there's like very elegant solutions to finite state machines. Well, okay, technically all the animation in Unreal Engine is one big finite state machine because you're going from like running to like all the locomotion states. Like you're going from running to standing. Those are basically state machines. I guess those do count actually, but I haven't made anything custom for my game for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have anything that that kind of does that. Like I have game states, but I wouldn't say that I have like finite state machines that govern that shit, of course.
I actually applied a different, so same take. I have like an equipment piece in my game that have like 2 different states. Like when one state is activated, does a certain logic, and when the other state is activated, does something else. And the way I programmed that was I instead had, so the object is an actor, but that actor owns 2 U objects. That's like a memory thing. And then those 2 classes are the different states. And then I just changed like which class is running, and it inherits from like an interface instead. So instead of having a finite state machine that like just keeps track of like, you're in this state now, you do this thing, and then now you're in this state, you do this thing. Instead I just have like, I just switch which U object is the pointed active, to.
Yeah,
exactly.
I see.
And then just run those functions, and then they are like friend classes to the base class, so they can call everything that exists on the base class. And that
friends.
What's that?
What are they?
And that made it so much nicer to read the code. Holy shit! Like so I always find finite state machines when they're too generic to be so hard to like debug and like figure out what's going on. And when you do everything in one place, it just makes it so like so much at one place, and it's like so hard to read.
Yeah. There's a lot of that stuff happening with Among the Wild though. I didn't do any of it, but yeah, that's like a big part of that game.
There's nothing wrong with
behaviors.
It. It's just like, it's just that I prefer writing it a different way.
I think it depends on the task, you know.
Yeah. There's certainly, because that's the thing with everything. There's always there's so many ways to do one thing, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just like different solutions have different pros and cons.
It always depends on the context, and it always depends on like the most random, tiny little things that change everything. You know, it's like, oh, you know, this one thing you should do it this way, and someone mentions something that is seemingly unrelated, and then you go, no, wait, now we have to change everything. That actually, this one tiny fact changes everything. So yeah. Do you have a punching cushion for when things go really wrong? This is from Holy Helmet. I guess we could show that one. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. I don't really get mad when things go wrong. I just get frustrated.
Yeah, I get frustrated. I get maybe like despair, sometimes like sick to my stomach when I can't figure something out and I have to approach it and I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's about it. But I don't get angry when like if my code's not compiling. It can get frustrating, but I wouldn't say I get angry. Yeah.
I get really frustrated when shit isn't linking. That's my stupid C++.
Don't have that problem.
Oh God, I wish I didn't have that issue with C++ all the time where like shit just stops linking. So Unreal Engine uses a system that's called Unity linking, where like it will try and batch different CPP files and headers into different like segments. And it's like pretty clever, but sometimes when you do very, very special things, it doesn't know that like, oh, this class has a dependency on this thing, but there's no direct dependency here. So sometimes you can just be unlucky with how things are referenced, and like suddenly the project just doesn't compile anymore. And I've made very minor changes. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then it's the fucking Unity build that keeps messing it up.
Love that stuff.
Yeah.
Or when there's like random cache issues and it's like ghosts in your code and you think like, you think that like this shouldn't be happening, and then you have to clear the cache, and that was the problem all along. But you spent like 2 days like trying to troubleshoot stuff. That stuff's annoying.
The fucking intermediate folder.
Yeah.
Did you try removing your intermediate folder? Oh yeah, now it works.
Yeah.
That happens so often for me specifically when I was working on Satisfactory. I would have like the strangest fucking issues where like, hey, this code just doesn't execute anymore. It's like, oh, that's weird. And then we spent like a day like troubleshooting it. And I'm like, wait. And then I removed the intermediate folder and they're like, oh, now it just works.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah, that stuff's really frustrating. Yeah. There was the longest time where I refused to like capture stuff in game anymore. Because every single time I would get the latest version, I would get issues downloading stuff from Perforce, issues building the engine. I'd get stutters when I run it. It was just a nightmare. And I'm like, anyone else can do this in 5 minutes right now. It will take me 3 days. Like, so I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same.
And like, I wouldn't do anything. It's like, because I was doing community management at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was working the last time. I just got latest, and now it's not working.
So I was the same thing, and that's why I not enforced them, but I asked them like, could we make tools so I can do some of the stuff outside of the engine, so I don't have to like. So they added those like camera sweeping thingies, which I think is in the game now as like a feature, like a photo mode thing now.
Ah, thanks, Snutt. Helps a lot.
So it actually turned into an actual feature in the game.
Not bad, not bad.
If anyone else has any questions, then shoot your shot, chat.
We do have one more.
Oh yeah, we do. Shit, I forgot about that.
We have one more segment.
Yeah.
Which is the. My eye is playing up on me. Recommendations.
Recommendations. I pressed the wrong button. You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up the thing. So my recommendation is a game that I played yesterday on stream. It's a game called Static Dread. Oh shit, they have a live stream. I don't want to spoil myself here. It's a game called Static Dread, and I'm going to present screen. It's a mix between Five Nights at Freddy's and Papers, Please. You play as this lighthouse keeper in this like... Can I like close this? I don't want to spoil if they're doing something I haven't seen yet. You play as this lighthouse keeper, basically. And every night, it's you have to like guide ships to come to shore. So
that sounds sick.
Yeah, so this is your workstation. You have like this radio receiver that you can like fiddle with the knobs with, and then you have this fax machine. So every night a ship will like do a transmission, so you can see like out the window like, oh, there's a ship in the horizon. And then you'll call them on the radio, and they'll like fax you like, here's where we are right now. How do we get to shore? And then you like draw. I'm not sure if they have a picture. Yeah, so this is what it basically looks like. You have this like picture behind here. Where
it's
like,
Georgie or whatever his name was. Yeah.
So like exactly. So they're like, I want to go to Arkham, and it's like, okay, so you got to draw on this map like how to get it, and like depending on which day it is, there might be different hazards. So like some days there's like hazards where you don't want the route to go through here because it's like shallow water or something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like if you suspect there's contraband, you want them to go to certain ports that might not be the port they want to go to and stuff like that. But it's a horror game, so there's a lot of like weird shit happening all the time. So you have to stay sane while this is happening. So as you're running around, there's like a sane meter where you get like food and shit. And as you're running around this lighthouse, there might be some weird shit happening. So you have to like turn on lights and stuff, and make sure that you don't go insane throughout the night. So far, I haven't died a single time, so I'm not sure if this is like hella narrative driven, that like maybe you're just supposed to go through the nights and deal with it. Because like Five Nights at Freddy's was definitely like night 3 or 4. It's like, this game is impossible now. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a really, really like gripping story so far. With like, let me see if I can play the trailer maybe. With like, there's so many things happening, and like different characters, and like there's so many choices throughout the game, right? You have like a lot of moral decisions sometimes where like, ooh, what if I do this thing? Something bad might happen. Or what if I do, oh, what the fuck?
That's really cool. This reminds me of Dredge a little bit as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just kind of is it the Lovecraftian something?
Yeah, like Eldritch horror
and the lighthouse
stuff,
and the water. Yeah, Eldritch stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So really dope, and you can fish in it, which I haven't been able to do because I did another thing to get fish. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's like not too long because I played it for 4 or 5 hours, and I think I'm halfway through. So it's not a super.
Oh, that sounds sick.
Yeah, and I might finish it this Friday on stream. We'll see.
Oh, I think I have to add that one to my wish list. Static Dread.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. The game that I'm gonna recommend is I'm still not sure if we've actually done it or not already.
I don't think we have.
All right, chat, let me know, okay? But the game that I'm gonna share is... The game that I recommend is a free game called...
Wait, it's free?
It is free. It's a free game. And boom. Okay. It is called Catgirl. It's the RPG where you're a cat and also a girl. Okay, so I highly recommend this game. First of all, it's free. It is 99% overwhelmingly positive. I promise you it's good. It is pretty funny. It's got some dumb jokes. It's got some good jokes. It's got a lot of colorful and interesting characters. It's got a fuck ton of like really like random little mini games. It's just it's made with like a lot of love as well. And the interesting thing is, this game is made by a musician named City Girl, and she makes really really good music. And she obviously made the music for this game, and the music in this game is also amazing as well. Now the game is free. It's only like 4 or 5 hours to finish the whole game, so it's like the perfect thing to just like sink your teeth into and then just sort of move on. But yeah, there's like your little stank hen. I mean, there's just like a lot of funny writing in it, and interesting characters, and it's pretty wholesome as well. So yeah, check out
City girl, a city and a girl.
She's both, yeah.
Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah.
Oh yeah, I could have linked. See,
Little dog, I really expected you would recommend this game as your first game. I went back in the VODs just now to check. That's what I was doing.
I don't think we talked about this because
I don't think so either.
I don't recognize the trailer.
Yeah.
Here's my recommendation.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are. So yeah, check it out. It's free. Free game. Two people talking. And here we are.
We sure are. Wow, I look so fucking slanted because I got way too comfortable today.
Yeah, let's get slanted, Snutt.
Yeah. Just reclining slowly more and more. Sitting like this at the end of the stream.
Yep. Yeah.
Good times.
Thanks for stopping by the stream, everybody. Hey, everyone.
Wait.
I figured it might be important to, y'all might want to look at the background a little bit, so I'm just getting out of the way.
Yeah. Worked hard on that background. Proud of those units.
Hey, chat. How's it going? Thank you, everyone, for watching State of Dev.
Yeah. Wait, do we have the same chair? Yeah, we do, right? Is that a Herman Miller?
We're chair twins. Twinsies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think this is a great way to end stream.
I think so too. This is perfect.
Be sure to stop by next week when we talk more about video games and game dev.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
You won't believe what happens next.
Hanging out. I won't be streaming after this one.
I probably won't be streaming either.
So this might be the end. Not forever, though. Bye, everyone.
Catch you on the flip. Bye. Are you pushing the button or am I pushing the button?
I'm too fucking tired.
All right.
I'm not pushing anything. I'm lying here.
Bye.
Bye.